Hey, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Blackstone Appliances MOSFET Overdrive. So the Blackstone MOSFET Overdrive is a pedal that I would consider a modern classic. I feel like I've seen this pedal at least over the last 10 years, and I'm not really sure when the original date was. It was actually kind of hard to find much history on the pedal as far as dating it, when the original release was. But my estimation puts it somewhere 2005-ish, 2006, somewhere around there is kind of where at least people really start talking about it. And it may have been after that, but it was pre-2010, and I think it was sometime after 2004. It's a pedal that is kind of a staple, but never been, I don't think, hyped in the way that other pedals have been in the past. So maybe a similar era pedal would be kind of the blue full-tone full drives, the later versions, not the original ones in the late 90s or early 2000s. But this was kind of a pedal that you would see a lot of times in place of or alongside a pedal like that. I mean, even just looking at the pedal makes me think of a Line 6 DL4, maybe a full-tone Ultimate Octave, and some of these classic pedals like a Boss RV4 Reverb, or one of the DD series. This kind of makes me think of that era of pedals because that's the pedal boards I remember seeing them on. And I actually have never owned one until now. And this is a pedal that I've seen so much and was always really curious about, not only because it kind of looked different, and of course you have the knobs that are the level of the surface of the pedal, and so they can't kind of be kicked around, but also because this is a pedal that is notorious with a smoother and fairly dynamic sound rather than the fizzy high transient that you find in other distortions. Blackstone still makes these pedals, and you can visit their website at blackstoneappliances.com, and there's a great really long description there, so I'm not going to read it. You can go there and read it for yourself, and there's a lot of information on there, but I'll read you the first paragraph here. John Blackstone builds guitar distortion devices that generate low-order harmonics and are responsive to dynamics. This is the type of distortion that reshapes the body of the note instead of coating it with a noisy fizz. That paragraph is just very reminiscent of the early era of boutique guitar effects. And this is a pedal that I think very much deserves, its own standing as a modern classic in the early era of boutique effects. This is not a series of pedals, this is just the one pedal. There are a couple different versions, and this one is in all of the stock modes. On the back there's a couple trim switches for gain and treble and buffer, but this is in all of the stock modes, and so we're going to listen to it through the Smart Bell Dumble here, mic'd with a 57 and a U87 clone, and it's going straight into the Apollo and into Logic, and so let's check out the demo. Alright, so here we are with the MOSFET Overdrive. I've got my Parried Smith, and we're going into the Smart Bell Dumble style head into the Little John Cabs prototype number 1. It's got EV12Ls. And I'm micing it with a Shure SM57 and a U87 clone condenser mic. Here is my clean tone on the neck pickup. So it's pretty clean, and we're going to start here with everything flat. So you can see, the knobs here are flush mounted, so you can kind of press on them with your finger or use your fingernail to get it. And we're going to start just everything flat. Sometimes they're a little tricky to turn, so you got to get in there with your fingernail. However, I really like that design. So we're going to start in the brown mode. So this is kind of the lower gain of the two. Got a good, really organic, kind of classic rock sound to it. All right, so we're just gonna quickly jump over to the red channel with everything flat here. You can hear a gain difference for sure there. So in the red channel, for the gain knob or the drive knob, we don't have a normal drive knob here. So center here, kind of at noon, is neutral. And then we have humbucker and single coil. So we've got the kind of 1 and 2 simulating the pickups here. So if we go over to the humbucker mode, what this is going to do is kind of add some clarity. If you go to the most extreme, it's going to add some gain. You can hear it's very kind of honky in the mids. You can hear all that harmonic content. It just kind of wants to continue to sing. So we're going to back it off and not make it so extreme. So you can hear really pokey in the mids, but it's not fizzy. It's still pretty smooth sounding. It's just kind of almost cocked-wah-ish. So if we turn this EQ, which this EQ is after the distortion, so it's going to be a little more drastic of the overall sound. So we took it all the way flat. So we've got such a honky sound. We'll take this just most kind of mid-focus sound that we can. It's almost got like that money for nothing kind of feel to it. Really kind of pokey in the mids there, really extreme. So we're going to take this back to a flat EQ, and then we're going to go over to the single coil setting, and I'm going to split these pickups to be in single coil mode. So you can hear, again, in the most extreme, it's going to add a little bit of gain, and it's going to be more drastic. So we'll go to the neck pickup in single coil. It's a lot more low-end content, for sure, in that single coil setting. So let's take this now to the scooped end of the EQ. It's still a lot more gain than I would typically use, so we're going to back that off and not make it so extreme. Cleans up really well with the volume knob, and that's in all the settings here. It's not just in that single coil mode. We'll take it back to noon and just listen to the roll off here. You can hear a lot of clarity there, very warm and organic sounding. All right, so we're going to go over to the brown mode here, and we're going to listen to just kind of the gain. So we've got a typical drive knob here, so just less or more. So we're going to take this. This one seems to be a little more stubborn. See if I can get my pick in there. So we're going to take this, and this is kind of the lower gain sound on the brown channel. Again, cleans up really well. So listen to a little more gain here, so we'll see how much gain we can get out of this brown channel. Still cleans up really well. I'm really a big fan of this brown channel. Let's listen to more of a scoop sound here. back the gain off just a little bit. You've still got tons of mid content in there, and especially if you go up to the more flat EQ. It's a great sounding pedal, and again, this is all into a really, really clean amp. So it's really organic. It's got that classic MOSFET sound that sometimes can get fizzy and sometimes can get woofy. However, this pedal, you definitely do not have an issue of it getting fizzy or too much top end. It really sings in that kind of mid-range characteristic. So let's listen really quick to the amp in more of a gained up sound, and how, you know, maybe one setting on each channel sounds into more of a gained up channel. All right, so we have a more gained up sound on the Smart Bell here, and this is what just the amp sounds like. Decent amount of gain on there. We'll start with the brown channel. Each note really wants to just sing right there. And then we'll listen to the red channel. Yeah, I mean, that just makes each note really want to sing. That harmonic content, especially in the mid-range, is just so rich that kind of slows you down and wants you to play a little more legato, and, you know, lean into those melodies as you're playing. You know, there's a reason why this pedal, in my opinion, is just a modern classic, especially in the early boutique pedal game, and you can hear why. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Blackstone Appliances MOSFET Overdrive. It really is a staple, you know, from the early boutique pedal game, and there's a reason why you've seen it, at least I have, on so many people's boards throughout the years. I do feel like it's kind of an unsung hero that never got to the peak of popularity. However, I feel like it was just as popular as a lot of those early overdrive pedals. If you look at some of the early exotic stuff and early full tone things, especially into kind of the mid to late 2000s, you know, nearing towards 2010, this was a pedal that you just saw a lot. And it's got such a unique sound. It's really organic, it's really warm. And it definitely has that MOSFET sound, like I said earlier, that sometimes can get woofy. So that means that you may have to dial in a little more top end from your amp than you normally would to be able to cut through the mix. However, what this pedal is great at is making your guitar sound really massive. Even with it being pretty mid-focused, it's got a huge, massive sound without being incredibly scooped, which can be really useful if you're playing live with only a single guitar, or even in the studio where you need to sit kind of under the mix but take up a lot of space. So that would mean some kind of song to where there's not a lot of tracks happening, so you're not stepping on a bunch of people's toes. However, you can take up a lot of space and still be heard because it's not incredibly scooped. And so there's a lot of uses for this pedal. I definitely am somebody who leans towards more of the warm sounding pedals anyways. I like more of a warm, smooth sound rather than really crispy and fizzy on top. And that's really what this pedal was designed for, is that specific kind of overdrive and distortion sound that's coming from the pedal, not necessarily from the amp. But as you heard, it works great and sounds not too dissimilar going into a clean amp versus going into a more overdriven sound. So if that sounds like something that you're looking for, definitely check out blackstoneappliances.com. They're still making this pedal, and like I said, there is a lot of great articles on that website that kind of hark back to the early days of boutique pedals, where there's a lot of kind of mysticism and maybe misinformation, and some of these pedal builders were trying to establish, what they're doing well and how to use their equipment. So definitely go check out that website. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then I ask that you like and subscribe to this new channel. In this video, please share it with others who would be into a pedal demo like this. And if there are some other modern classic boutique pedals that you'd like me to demo, please reach out and let me know what those are. And keep up with me in the comments. I appreciate everybody who's been reaching out. It's been really encouraging. And until next time, I've been Colin. Blackstone Appliances MOSFET Overdrive. Then I ask that you, because it is a pedal that please, that was pretty good. Explains, actually, let's see. So if that sounds low noise order, okay. When did it come out? That's what we want to know. Let's do this again. So through the, okay, I can't see anything here. So that's me in the